Um, some of you guys already know that I started posting earlier this week that the game plan is that I'm going to now be starting to go live a whole lot more. And my life has been going through so many transitions and changes, and it's kind of been crazy. And so I'm going to share to you with you today, kind of some of my journey, where I'm at right now, in part because then I want to be able to give you why it is that I've been quiet and why it is that I'm not about to be as quiet anymore. A lot of you know that I released a book back in January. And in January, my thought was I will release this book and then I will have time to kind of start to build some things around it. And I released the book, and 3 days after the book release, I lost my job. And so, yes, then I had the time that I thought I would have, but not the way that I thought I would have it. And as you guys can imagine, the pressure that mounts around you at a moment like that, full vulnerability here, is it's horrifying. It's scary. It's so many things. And it took me to a place where all of a sudden I realized that everything that I needed, I had, and I wasn't sure that I was prepared to take advantage of it. Maurice, what do you mean? Everything that I needed, I had. I had the time to build. I had the support of people to build. I even had the book with the premise within it to build. And yet I started to find myself wavering in confidence, wavering in focus, wavering in things that are detrimental to my progress. And so I sat down for a while and I had to start asking myself, and then I started asking some people I trusted some questions. What was holding me back? And today I'm going to just ask you guys the same question. And if you guys are jumping on, feel free. Let me know that you're watching. Let me know what questions you have. Leave comments as I speak. I want this to be a conversation. I'm live in my personal Facebook group, The Realist You, and I'm also live on YouTube. What's holding you back? You see, we all have belief systems. There are things that we all believe about ourselves, that we believe about our circumstances and our situations. We all have something on the inside of us that limits how far we think we can go. The reality is the sky is the limit, but in your brain or in your heart the limit's the sky. You look up and you expect for the world to come crashing down on you instead of expecting the heavens to rain blessings on you. I don't know if you've ever been there in your life, but there's sometimes where my mind is my greatest adversary. My mind begins to tell me what I can't do, what I can't be, what I can't become, how I can't grow. My mind sometimes plays tricks on me. And I need to know what it is that's standing in between me and destiny. What's standing between me and progress. And as I'm sure you understand, you have to do the same thing. And so today I want to talk about identifying it, what it is that's holding you back so that you can overcome it and so that you can stop allowing it to keep you from the greatest accomplishments in your life. There are things called limiting beliefs. A limiting belief is simply the belief system in your head that makes your heart hold you back. I'll say it again how I define it. It is a belief in your head that communicates something to your heart, into your soul, into your core, that makes you believe you're not good enough, you're not worthy, and it ultimately keeps you from accomplishing the greatest things because something in you doesn't feel worth it, doesn't feel qualified. A limiting belief is a part of your foundation. It's a part of your core, part of your being. And if you're not careful, the beliefs that have been built from your past, built from your experience, built from the life you've lived, will keep you from living the life you're meant to live as you move forward. Does that make sense? Limiting beliefs are the limitations you put on your own life. Your limiting beliefs are boundaries that you place between the point you're at and the finish line you're supposed to cross. And so the first thing that we have to do is we have to understand what it is that's off in our thinking, what's off in our mentality, what's off in our projection, in our processing of who we are and what we're capable of. Here's a real question, and do me a favor, type this in the chat if you can relate to this. Sometimes in my life, people come up to me and they go, oh, well, shoot, if you're doing so and so, that's not going to be a big deal for you at all. And I'll be like, why would you think that? That's going to be almost impossible. That's a limiting belief. Sometimes people will tell me, man, if you ever wanted to get into this or this or this, you'd be so successful. And I automatically think, no, I probably wouldn't be any good at that. Limiting belief. Sometimes I think about relationships. I think about what I would love to have in a relationship, things that I would love to cultivate or grow. And I find myself believing that the things that I want are the very things that I can't have because somehow I'm unworthy of it or I'm unable to get it. Limiting beliefs. What are yours? If you think for a moment about the life that you want to live, it's the life of growth, the life of accomplishment, the life of love, happiness, fulfillment. What are the things that you desire in your life, but for some reason you count yourself out of? What are the things that you would love to experience in your life, but for some reason you've convinced yourself you can never have them? Because if you don't address what it is you don't believe you can have, you'll never have it. You'll talk yourself out of it. You'll work yourself out of it. And it will find a way to always stay just out of sight and just out of reach. And I really want you guys to participate in this. I don't know if it seems like I'm live or not. Sometimes when people watch me and listen to me speak, that everything seems like it's rehearsed and like it's rehearsed and staged and it was all pre-recorded. But I'm really speaking live. It's just I'm speaking from the heart. And so, jump in with your comments, jump in with your thoughts, jump in with your reflections. Do you really know what it is in your mentality and in your thinking that's holding you back from destiny? And after you begin to assess that, if we're being honest, sometimes the next step is to ask the next question. Where did the beliefs come from? You see, everything that imprisons you in a place, keeps you stuck in a place, has origins, has roots. One of the biggest things that I do when I sit down with coaching clients is I don't just help them figure out what it is that's keeping them from what it is they desire, but we figure out, well, where did it even come from? And sometimes it's failures, it's disappointments, it's heartaches and heartbreaks. Sometimes it's things that mom said in childhood and dad modeled in childhood. Sometimes people assume that the problem is something that happened when they're 5, but it was something that shaped them when they were 25. There's so many different things that happen and patterns that happen, but you have to partially figure out where your limiting beliefs started in order to break them in that place, to cut them at the roots so they don't keep growing back, so they don't keep getting stronger and healthier in the unhealthy part in place. I hope I'm making sense to you guys right now. I just realized that I have the Hope Rising logo up. Shout out to my new podcast. I'm about to get rid of this thing right now. But my new podcast does start this upcoming Monday. But let me know if I'm making sense, guys. I hope I'm making sense right now. Because this stuff is honestly, it's so real to me. It's so real to me, I think, in part because I've met so many people in life who struggle with their belief system. And so many times in my own life, I have found that my own belief system is the exact thing that's keeping me from everything I want. I have positioned myself the right way. I have worked hard enough. I've been smart enough. I got right where I need to get. And then here's the words: I've self sabotaged. Some of you guys understand what I mean when I say that. I have self sabotaged. I mean, think about it. How many times in your life have you been on the brink of everything that you desire? You worked hard to get into position. You worked hard to get that promotion. You did everything you could to get that marriage. And then something inside of you starts to tell you you don't deserve to keep it. You don't deserve to have it. And you start to self sabotage the very thing you hoped for, that you prayed for, that you wished for. What is it about the way your heart is postured and the way your head is positioned that's making you think the very thing you asked God for is something you're undeserving of? And so you keep the people you love at a stiff arm distance. You keep the people who mean something to you so far away that it's like there's a wall around you that's impenetrable. You can't, it's impregnable. You can't get around it. You can't over it. You can't get through it. You can't build with it. You keep everybody so far away. What is it that makes us self sabotage? What is it that makes you self sabotage? If you don't figure that out, you'll always find yourself at the end of the day feeling a level of heartache and heartbreak that you cannot escape. It's one thing when life circumstances disrupt the things you've dreamed of. It's another thing when it's your actions that disrupt everything you've dreamed of. Because now there's guilt and there's shame, and those things haunt you. How many times in our lives do the ways that we think and the ways that we feel and the ways that we operate destroy the very things that we've worked for with our hands and our hearts? I hope I'm speaking to somebody today who needs to hear this. How many times in your life have you worked hard to build something and then sabotage the very thing that you built because something on the inside of you didn't feel worthy of keeping it? That's self-sabotage. If you don't work on the belief system you have, you will find yourself keeping yourself from the happiness you've prayed for, dreamed of, wished for, worked on. Are you guys with me today? So these limiting beliefs that we have, they start at one point, they build over time, and then they slowly but surely strangle the breath that you have in your body. They strangle the hope. They strangle the joy. They keep you just underneath a ceiling where if you could only break through that ceiling, then you'd actually be in the light. You'd be above ground. You'd be able to take in the new sun. You'd be seen, you'd be heard, you'd be felt. You'd make a difference for those around you, but instead you stay in a dark place. See, sometimes the problem is that we started off our lives in darkness and we believe that the darkness we started in is a place we were supposed to stay in. And we miss that we were born as a seed. If you were born as a seed, you are born in the darkness, you're born in the ground, in the earth, but at some point you're supposed to rise above the ground because there's something above the ground that needs to see you, needs to experience you, needs to interact with you. I don't know if you're a tree, if you're a flower, if you're some vegetation. I don't know what you are, Because everybody's born with a different purpose and a different path. But there's somebody who can't eat what they're meant to eat without you. There's somebody who can't get out of the shade or into the shade that they need without you. There's somebody who will never see beauty and experience beauty in its most wonderful form if you don't come up out of the darkness. Your belief system will tell you you were born in the dark, you're supposed to stay in the dark. And if you don't identify that, then you'll miss that, hey, mindset, you're off. I know we've always been in the darkness because there was something building and forming and growing within us. And now it's time for us to go experience life on the other side. I hope I'm making sense to you. You have to understand what is holding you back within your psyche, within your mindset, within your thought process. And then you have to challenge it. You cannot allow the mindsets and the heart postures within yourself to convince you you can't change, you can't grow. You have to fight back. And when you fight back, you'll find out that your belief system can be shifted in a totally different perspective. Somebody's watching today, they said, good topic about being in the dark. I have been realizing that where I was dark, I need a job around rainbows and unicorns. So in other words, sometimes we don't really understand how critical it is for us to find the type of career, the type of job where we can shine, where we can have joy. That's what I see when I see that. Here's reality. Sometimes we underestimate the power and the effect of the things in our lives that surround us. I ask the question all the time with clients, what do you consume? And what effect is it having on your life? Some people, they work jobs where literally the job itself is dark. The job itself is miserable. And they say, well, you got to do what you got to do to make ends meet. And they walk into the wrong job that keeps them stuck in the wrong the heart posture, the wrong positioning. And day after day, they keep going to that job and it sucks their soul away. And you ask them, you hate your job, why do you keep going back? Well, I've just been there so long, I never thought about changing it. If you were born to be a light and you go to a place that keeps you in the dark, you have to change it. You got to find something that gives you joy, that gives you peace, or that makes you the one to spread it. And I don't need real rainbows. I don't need life to be perfect. This isn't about pouting, right? This isn't about saying, oh, well, my life, I just wish my life would be better. This isn't that. This isn't about whining. This is about being honest with yourself. If it's draining you, consider changing it. If it's sucking your soul dry, consider altering it. Period. Whatever it is. And sometimes it's not just the job you're working or the relationship you're in, it's your approach to it. Do you know how many people that I've sat down in a room with and I've said, if you could change your marriage, if you could change your relationship, what would you change? And they begin by just telling you everything they would change about their partner. Well, you can't change any of that. So what else would you change? What you got next? And when they begin to think about it, they realize that they've never even considered what they could alter. So you say, well, what would you want the relationship to look like? Don't tell me about them changing. Just what would you want to experience? Well, I would want peace. Okay. Well, what would have to change inside of you to foster and facilitate peace? What would you have to bring to the table to hone and craft and develop peace? Who would you have to become to make sure that you are peace when you walk into your home? And it is amazing how when a person takes personal responsibility for the relationship, how sometimes the relationship itself changes. Sometimes the crazy don't come out crazy like it used to because you're not bringing the crazy to the table for them to consume. The anger doesn't seem as angry because you're not bringing as much anger to the table for them to consume. Your belief system. You're limited to the beliefs you carry. And if the only way you believe your life can change is if anyone else around you changes, nothing in your life will ever change the way you hope or pray it will. I change when I change. When I'm willing to grow, everything around me grows. When I'm willing to heal, everyone and everything around me heals. That's the purpose of it all. You are a powerful creature, a powerful being. You are a sphere of influence. People look to you, people watch you, people believe in you, people need you. So whatever it is that you bring into a home, bring into a workplace, bring into to whatever it is you're walking into, that is what the people consume that you're giving them. If you give them toxicity, don't be surprised when toxicity comes out of them. It's what you fed them. Breakfast, lunch, and dinner. And if you always think the problem is them, you'll never ever fix the problem. I'm not saying that you're so screwed up that you're the cause of all issues in life. But when you're as powerful of a human as you are, you'll find a way to overcome. And you'll help other people overcome. You'll speak life to them, and they'll see life in a way they didn't see it before, or be reminded of life in a way that they had forgotten. When you bring hope, they'll feel a sense of hope that had been missing. They'll find themselves being more hopeful and even reciprocating back to you. When you bring people more love and they consume love from you, you'll find that they have more love to operate because when you love, it's different. Talking about you. When you love, when you open up, when you pour out, something different about it. But you have to know how the way you're thinking is keeping you from pouring out all of those things. You have to know how the way that you're looking at life is keeping you from bringing those things to the table that could change your circumstances and the circumstances of those around you. You have to know. So I just wanted to get on today and I just wanted to talk to you a little bit about your beliefs. When you challenge those beliefs, it's not just your life that changes, it's so many other lives. I hope this was helpful. I'll be back tomorrow live again. I'm going to just start to just jump on some lives and just speak life and speak hope and speak truth and all of that. And so do me a favor as you guys watch on replay. Would you leave me comments? Let me know, what do you want me to do videos on this week? What do you need to hear about? What have you been struggling with? What have you been frustrated about? What are you anxious about? And I will just jump on and I'll talk. And if some of you even want to come and join me, I might even bring a couple of you on live with me. Somebody on Facebook says, "Thank you for your words. Loved your words." No problem at all. It's my pleasure. I'm happy it made a difference for you today. Happy it made a difference for you. All right. You guys have a great day. Start thinking about those beliefs and how you can overcome them. And if any of you are looking to sit down with me for a one-on-one, Now is the time. I'm just about to launch a new group, and I'm going to be bringing some people on for some group coaching. So now this is when the moving and shaking starts. So if any of you guys want to sit down and have a conversation with me, go to mauricefmartin.com. Sign up for your free 30-minute consultation. This is probably the best time to do it with me. Number one, because I'm in between groups of clients, and number two, because I'm just in a place where I really feel like I can make a difference. So I will look forward to talking to you soon.